Welcome to our channel where we dive deep into innovative technology solutions. In today's tutorial, we will build a facial recognition-based e-learning system using Java. This futuristic approach will not only make learning more interactive, but also help us personalize education for students. Let's get started. Before we begin coding, let's outline what we will be creating. Our system will be an e-learning platform that utilizes facial recognition to verify the identity of students. When a student logs in, their facial data will be matched with an existing profile. If it matches, they will have access to their learning materials. Let's discuss the technology stack we'll be using. We are going to use the following technologies: Java for the backend, OpenCV for facial recognition, and a simple HTML/CSS frontend. To make our application user-friendly and interactive, we'll also utilize Java servlets to connect our Java application with the web interface. First, let's set up our Java environment. Ensure you have JDK installed and IDE set up, like IntelliJ IDEA or Eclipse. Next, we need to include the OpenCV library. To do this, download OpenCV from the official website and add its library to your IDE. Once you have OpenCV set up, we need to initialize the library in our Java code. Create a new Java class named Facial Recognition. This class will handle all facial recognition functionalities. Let's start by loading the OpenCV native library. Next, we will define a method to capture an image from a webcam to obtain the facial data. We'll use the video capture class from OpenCV for this purpose. Let's create a method named captureImage. Now, we need to perform face detection on the captured image. OpenCV offers several pre-trained models for face detection. We'll use the HAR Cascade classifier. Download the HAR Cascade .xml file and place it in your project resources. With our face detection functionality in place, we now need a way to recognize faces. For this purpose, we will use the eigenface algorithm available within OpenCV. Let's create a method named recognizeFace. At this point, we have our basic facial recognition functionalities in place. Let's now create a student profile that will hold facial data. We can represent a student with a simple Java class named student. Next, we'll implement a method to save the student's facial data once they register. This data will be associated with their profile. You can create a method called registerStudent. Before we add database functionality, let us integrate our facial recognition features with a web interface. Now, let's create a simple login page using HTML. Our form will have fields for username and a button to capture their facial data. Next, let's create the Java servlet that will handle the form submission. This servlet will call our facial recognition methods and verify the student's identity. Create a new class named LoginServlet. In the doPost method of the LoginServlet, we will invoke our captureImage and recognizeFace methods. If the recognition is successful, the student will be redirected to their dashboard. If unsuccessful, they will receive an error. Now, let's enhance our application by adding a database to store student profiles. For this, we will use MySQL. Make sure to set up your MySQL database and create a table for students. The SQL query could look like this. We'll use JDBC to connect our Java application to the MySQL database. Add the necessary MySQL connector dependency to your project. In the registerStudent method, we'll change it to insert student data into the database. Let's write the method to establish a connection to the database and insert the student record. Now we need a method to convert facial data from OpenCV MAT to a byte array for storage in the database. Let's create the method convertMat to bytes. Let's also implement a method to retrieve student profiles from the database for future updates or checking existing users. We can create a method called getStudent that returns a student object based on their username. Now that we have our core functionalities in place, let's discuss deploying our e-learning system. For deployment, you can use platforms like Heroku or AWS. Many of these platforms provide easy steps to deploy Java servlets and applications. Before we wrap up this tutorial, it's essential to discuss security. Always make sure to validate and sanitize user inputs to protect against SQL injection. Use encryption for sensitive data, and ensure you limit access to your database. Thank you for following along with our tutorial on creating a facial recognition-based e-learning system. We've covered a lot, from setting up facial recognition functionality to integrating it with a web interface and a backend database. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment below if you have any questions. Also, share your experience if you try out this project. Until next time, happy coding!